The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Rav Shamshon Pincus just was reading his biography. It's like out of this world. Everybody should read this book. It's just amazing. But one of the stories that I read there was that he lived in Ofakim, which is like in the Negev, probably, I'm going to say an hour and a half from Yerushalayim. And he was somebody who just loved chesed. The story goes that every Friday, like before Shabbos, the last like hour or two, he was always driving up and down the roads to see who was stuck on the side of the highway if he needed somewhere to go for Shabbos. That was like, he was like always like running after chesed. So one story there really struck me like deep in my core. Story goes that, again, I said this on Shabbos, but it's worth repeating. Story goes that he was in Ofakim and he heard of a couple that gave birth to a preemie who was in the NICU in Yerushalayim. And the doctor said that this baby really can get formula, but it would be better if it had natural milk. So Rav Shamshon Pincus came to visit this couple and was talking to them. And in the course of the conversation, they said, yeah, the doctor said it would be better, but like, it's not a big deal. Like, if they could give formula. If not. So he said, oh, very nice. It's in Hadassah, Shari Chesed, whatever, hospital in Yerushalayim. Happens to be tomorrow morning, I need to go to Yerushalayim. I'll drop it off for you. They were like, oh, okay, fine. So the next day he picks it up and he says, you know what? The yeshiva that I'm in, they need me to stay there. Gives them like a whole story. And for 2 weeks, every morning he picks up this milk and he drives it to the hospital. After like 2 weeks, the parents came to the hospital and one of the nurses said, like, your Rav is like really dedicated. And they were like, what do you mean really dedicated? He said, yeah, he came here and then he hopped that like the doctors were not so interested in like this milk and thawing it and this and that. They weren't interested. They were like, it's easier to just give this kid formula. So he said, listen, the same way you would give like a pass to the parents, like, like the wristband to let them in and out of the baby's, nursery. I want you to give that to me because I'm their Rav. And he got this pass and he would sit there for 2 weeks feeding the strange baby. So the baby would have milk rather than formula so that its immune system would be boosted a little bit more than it would have been had it just received formula. They found out afterwards that he had nothing to do in Yerushalayim. He made up the whole story. He made up that he needed to go to Yerushalayim for 2 weeks so that he could care for somebody else's baby this much more. Not even like, I'm saving this baby's life. Like, just this much more. Therefore, I'm going to run after that. This is a person who was on fire. He didn't do chesed. He lived chesed. He loved chesed. Chesed was in his bones. It was an opportunity for him. Every opportunity to help somebody else, that was in his bones.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org